What's up, guys? Kevin here. So today it was announced that it was very interesting. It was announced that MLB The Show 21 was coming to Game Pass day one. So $60, $70 on PS4, PS5. Basically free on Xbox day one. Not only that, Game Pass has a deal where if you're subscribed to Game Pass, I think you get like 10, 20% off any game purchase. So not only that, if you have an Xbox, you most likely have a Game Pass subscription. So Microsoft is not only basically giving the game away free day one, a Sony game. Like, you got to see the trailer for it. It did the Xbox logo, the ding, and the Xbox logo, followed by the Sony PlayStation logo. I was like, what? What world are we living in? And if for some reason an Xbox guy goes, you know what, I want to buy this game, and they have Game Pass, they get, 10, 20% off? Sony guys have to pay full price for one of their very own games. And, I play most of my games on my PlayStation, my PS5 and PS4 Pro, even my Vita. But I would say my heart lies with Xbox just because they're the underdog. I've had the original Xbox, pretty much day one with Halo and 360, a little bit of Xbox One, and now Series X, which I'm loving. But I still play most of my games on PlayStation. But I root for Xbox. So when this news broke, I was laughing my ass off. I was like, wow. Now, having a day to think about it and just watching all the Sony fanboys freak out, and their heart is in the right place. I'm seeing a lot of them. I think mostly are trolls who kind of really don't care, but they side with Sony, saying oh, this just means that Sony's getting more money. All that Sony is doing is collecting the bag, or nobody really plays baseball games. This MLB The Show, not a huge seller, but they sell a couple million every year, and it always charts. It's a very popular game. And yeah, if you're a Sony guy, if your heart's in the right place, you got to be like, what the fuck, Sony? You should be pissed. You should be pissed. But I would say give it a week. Still be very, very mad and take that rage out on Herman Holst and Jim Ryan's Twitter feed and PlayStation, because you want them to respond. Right now, you want Sony to go, oh, yeah, this is kind of fucked up. We should do something for our players who support the PlayStation ecosystem. And I think they will. This was announced on a Friday. I assume next week they're going to do something, probably more stay-at-home initiative games. When Xbox was having a good week a few weeks back, that's when PlayStation responded oh, hey, there's all these games coming to the stay-at-home. They did 10 games, and they announced Jade Raymond, which I thought was hilarious. But Sony is known to respond. Sony is known to go, oh, looks like you got some happy fans over there, Xbox. Be a shame if I announce something. They've been doing it all last year, especially last year. Remember they announced a controller and all these state of plays after any good news the Xbox fans got. But now, let's talk about why MLB The Show 21 coming to Game Pass is great news for Sony. If you're a Sony fan, as long as you look to the future and understand how this gaming shit's going to work out, you should be happy. This is just the next step between Microsoft and Xbox relationship, because these two have a relationship. If you remember, PlayStation is partnering with Microsoft for their Azure, for their cloud-based systems. So there is a relationship there, and of course, we know Jim Ryan and Phil Spencer, they talk to each other. Watch interviews with Phil Spencer all the time. He says he talks to Jim Ryan, talks to everybody. He's a friendly guy. He just gets along with everybody. But if you're a PlayStation guy, this, should piss you off, and you expect something in return. I know a lot of people oh, no, the show should go to PS Plus. Let's not do a one-upmanship, oh, you do this, I'm going to do this. I don't think that's really good. You don't want these companies start giving shit away for free. Microsoft does it just because they got endless amounts of money. But that's not really good for Sony. I don't think so. Or even Nintendo. Nintendo is just on their own island, doing their own thing, enjoying their own success. But Sony now has an out to say, hey, we had no say in this. This was all MLB. This was MLB. They stepped in. They're making us make this game for other platforms. And MLB, we're not the publishers on the Xbox. It's MLB. So this was between Phil Spencer and the MLB. And they're putting it on Game Pass. And I'm sure Sony has some type of say. Because you would expect them to make money. And it's like, hey, we're now not selling the game on their console. We're now pretty much giving it away for free on Game Pass. I'm sure there's some type of deal where they make money from this. I'm pretty sure the MLB probably pays them handsomely. And Phil Spencer probably pays out the ass with Microsoft money because they got billions, if not trillions of money to do whatever the hell they want. Now that they got that out, to use that as an excuse, though they should still take care of the PlayStation fans, say, hey, we fucked up here, or this looks like a big fuck up on our part, even though it's not. Here's a game or two or something for free or something, just something. Now we can look towards a future where Game Pass is the future. It's coming quite clear. We got Outriders day one. We got MLB The Show day one. And Sony can't really afford to do stuff like this on PS Now. Their company is PlayStation. That's it. It makes them billions of dollars, but not trillions like Xbox or Microsoft makes. So, with Game Pass winning out, Phil Spencer is looking towards, okay, I want to get Game Pass everywhere. I don't want just my Xbox fanboys to pay 5, 10, 15, whatever, how much money it is, dollar Pop-Tarts or whatever. I want to look towards Sony. I want to look towards Nintendo. This is Sony saying, let's see how this works out. Let's see how MLB The Show 21 does on Game Pass. And I'm sure there's already talks between Jim Ryan and Phil Spencer, somebody at PlayStation and Xbox, going to get Game Pass on a PlayStation system. It's just the next step. It's just going to happen. I think it's going to happen way sooner than later. And I think it's no coincidence that you're hearing, oh, the PS3 shop and all these shops are closing down. I think what's going to happen is PlayStation is going to get a form of Game Pass in which it's going to be I'm not going to say customized, but it's going to be a PlayStation-centric Game Pass. And I think they're working out how that's going to make sense for PlayStation and how it makes sense for Xbox. I'm not the wizard, but Phil Spencer, Jim Ryan, people at Sony, the lawyers, they're going to figure it out. And I wouldn't be surprised by end of the year sometime, probably early in this generation, that Game Pass is on PlayStation. I think PlayStation's got to make sure, all right, this has got to work for us to where, okay, we can start putting Sony games. We can find a way to put PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3 games on Game Pass, which absolutely, I think is very obvious. I think it's very obvious what's happening here. I think they're going to work a way out for that, and then Xbox has got to work out a version of Game Pass, which is already great for their systems, but they don't want to make it to a point where it's like, all right, well, why get an Xbox when all these games on Game Pass are going to be day and date and everything else on a PlayStation system? And then PlayStation's going to have their exclusives. So I think they're working it out on both sides. And I think this MLB The Show 21 is just its first step for Sony just to really test the waters, at least. At the very least, test the waters. Though it is interesting, I don't think Sony or even San Diego mentioned anything about Game Pass today. They pretty much kept quiet. I've heard people said it like, I think it was MBG said, if they keep quiet, that pretty much Sony's saying, hey, we know what's going on here. And then if they come out like the next week saying, hey guys, sorry about that, here's this for free, that means that they weren't in on it. But I think the writing's on the wall. Game Pass is coming to PlayStation 5. It just is. Like now would be the time for Sony to crush Game Pass with putting all their games date and date. They're not going to do that. There's a reason why they're selling their games for $70. They can't afford it. They can't afford to take a loss. They need PlayStation to be profitable. But I think they'll be happy to get a version of Game Pass on their system, in which, especially if they can get some type of Xbox first-party games. I don't think that will happen, though. I don't think so. Maybe the Bethesda games. We did hear Phil Spencer say that the Bethesda games will be exclusive to the platforms where Game Pass is on. That verbiage was very weird, because he could have said Xbox consoles, PC, and iOS, or mobile. But he chose to use platforms. He chose to use platforms because he's still working out deals, probably with Sony and Nintendo, to get Game Pass over there. These aren't probably talks where Phil Spencer goes to Sony or Nintendo, say, hey, you want Game Pass? And they say, nope. No, they probably come with different offers, like, all right, here's one way we can do it, here's one way we can do it. And then the other side goes, okay, this might work, this won't work. And they got to crunch the numbers. Sony's got to make money. Microsoft, I would say they need to make money, but they just care about getting subscribers. But we'll see. Either way, if I'm a Sony fan, I would just, walk backwards from that ledge. Let things play out. It's a very dickish move, though. It is a very dickish move, like right up front. I'm pissed. I'm not that much of a Sony guy. I play mostly on PlayStation, but even I'm pissed on behalf of Sony fans, just because it's like, hey, man, I buy this game year in and year out. And not only do you put it on other systems, which I'm fine with, but then they get to play it for free? It's fucked up. Like, I think it's really fucked up. I wouldn't be surprised if the game maybe sells less copies because of Game Pass, but you're going to hear very shortly that they're going to have the most players ever. You're going to hear very shortly. But yeah, Sony Game Pass, it's happening. It's a done deal. And I think Sony wants to get away from PlayStation now. It's like they are begrudgingly like adding games and trying to keep it a thing or keep it somewhat relevant, but it's just not the same. I think they'll eventually get rid of PS Now. They'll work with, they got to figure out something with the PS3, Vita, and PSP stores. I read today that they're about to lose like 2,200 games. And then a lot of those games are now going to be exclusive to Xbox, because of backwards compatibility. That's insane, man. I don't know. I don't know what Sony's doing. I don't know. It's like if they're just begrudgingly making moves because it's 2021 and it's all about service and subscription models. Like, Sony can't survive. So I think they're getting in on Game Pass here. I think they're working something out. I think very soon we're going to hear Game Pass. They may be label it something different, but it'll be like Sony, maybe not called Game Pass, but it'll be Sony's version, but it's still from Microsoft or from Sony. They just probably want to label it something different to make it seem like a Sony-owned thing. That'll be my guess. But, you take a step back. Think about Netflix. Think about Hulu. Think about all these popular streaming apps and just popular apps to watch content. They're everywhere. You get Disney Plus, HBO Max, Netflix. You get them on all type of platforms. And that's where Microsoft is. We want to get this on any platform that wants it. And it's going to get there where the demand is going to be like, hey, I want to play all these games. I want Game Pass on PlayStation. I want Game Pass on my Nintendo. It's going to happen. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. It's going to be okay, Sony guys. It's going to be okay. You got Returnal, got Ratchet and Clank, you got Kena, got God of War, got Horizon. Put your focus on, hey, these aren't $70 games. Especially Kena and Returnal. Oh, actually, Kena, I think, is only like 40 or 50. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. I will talk to you later. Later.